And Domenico Cirilli is our third eBay seller, and they're going to talk to you about how to get it on eBay, the seller's perspective. You're good to go.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you all for taking the time and being patient with us. We're very excited to be here. As mentioned, my name is Dominique Hollins. I'm eBay's first seller diversity ambassador. And for those of you who might be wondering what that is, my job was literally created last year by our Chief Diversity Officer, Damian Hooper Campbell. So at eBay, diversity and inclusion for us has a three-pronged focus. It is how we attract people, so that's our workforce, how they feel when they get in the office, the workplace, and then how we affect the marketplace. At eBay, my role is focused on bridging the gap between our company and underrepresented communities who don't have the opportunity, nor do they know what eBay provides beyond being an e-commerce site. In the video you just saw moments ago, that was our founder, Pierre Omidyar, who was a 28-year-old French-born Iranian-American immigrant who felt that although we were all born equally capable, we are not born with the access to equal opportunity. And when he founded eBay, he literally just wanted everyday folks to have access to build businesses and to connect people around the world. And now we can say about 23 years later, we have 175 million sellers on our buyers on our platform. We are in 190 markets around the world. And what that has allowed us to do is to have everyday folks, like the sellers you're going to hear from in a moment, kind of change their lives with how much money they've been able to make on the platform. So for those of you who might know eBay for its past history, it is known in the past for being an auction site. That is not true today. More than 80% of the items that are sold on our site are at fixed price, so you do not have to auction or bid on the item to purchase it. Many of you are probably going to rush to the stores to get a new iPhone this year, but have you thought about selling the one that you already have? What eBay is doing is acknowledging that we are not only consumers as an African-American population, but we are equally capable for building economic wealth for ourselves as well, and not a lot of corporations are having that conversation. In a moment, I'm going to ask our sellers to introduce themselves, but before I do that, I'm going to repeat something you might have heard earlier, and if you haven't, I want you to keep in mind what these numbers represent. The African-American population is 14% of the U.S. population overall, and yet we have $1.2 trillion in purchasing power. We spend more money than most other demographics, and yet our median net worth as a community is only $1,700. On the other hand, our white counterparts' median net worth is $118,000. When you look at the disparity between the African-American community and the majority population, the reality is there is a lot more we can do for ourselves, and we can complain and talk about the opportunities that are not available, but what we're going to talk about now is the opportunities that are available. It starts with you. Education and awareness is piece number one, and the action you put behind that is part number two. So without further ado, I want to get to some folks who have figured that out already, and they have literally flown from different states to be here with you. And before I put Kimberly, well, I'm going to let Kimberly introduce herself first, and then I have a little story. Hopefully you don't mind me putting you on the spot. But how about we do this? If you all can let everyone know your first name, with first and last name, the name of your eBay store, how long you've been on the site, and why you chose to sell on eBay.
Well, my name is Kim Bocchi. I am from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, so I hate to say that too loud in this area of the world. However, I am. My store name is Love Vintage 48, and the reason why I did that is I did it when I was 48 years old, and it was over. I just hit my 1 year and 1 month anniversary on eBay. So I've only been doing this for a very short time. How I got started, it was somebody that I had met, and we're actually in a relationship now, but you know, he had said, why don't you try this? And I thought, I don't have the time, energy, I don't know anything about anything, I just have stuff. Well, piece after piece after piece, we started with one item, one day, and that's it. And now I have my own store.
Good afternoon, Domenico Cirilli, DNC's Bazaar. Same on social, DNCS Bazaar. I've been on eBay for 6 years. I sell a variety of goods. I came to eBay as a venue that all of us, and there's really no limitation. In every business in the world, we say, well, how much does it cost me to get in? Are you willing to work? You could get to work on eBay today.
Hi, thank you for having me. My name is Imogene Harvey Armstrong. I've been selling on eBay since 1999. I've been full-time since 2009. I love selling on eBay. I love helping others sell on eBay. And I love when I wake up in the morning and I reach over and get my cell phone and I check and see how much money I made last night while I slept. I love it.
So thank you all very much. And again, with our commitment to diversity, this panel was intentionally chosen because we have almost a crisis happening right now in our nation. We have a generational gap. Our generations are not speaking to each other. And then we have an expanding racial gap that's taking place. And I remember when Kim saw the dfree link and she said, oh no, does Dominique know I'm not black? And she said, I don't think it's an African American Wealth Management Summit. And I said, exactly. I definitely know that. You live in the area. And these three sellers are part of a program where they have raised their hand to say, if you ever need me to educate somebody on the opportunity, just call on me. So Kimberly, thank you for being in this room with us. We welcome you and we appreciate you. So let's get into the money-making part. We are at a faith-based wealth management conference, and the goal is to be debt-free. How do you think eBay plays a role in helping with debt elimination for folks who are probably on the fence? They really don't think about eBay in that way. How can we play a role in the debt management journey or the debt reduction journey, elimination? Anybody who, yeah, sure.
In 1999, when I started, I just did it as a hobby. I got started, and then I saw I could really make some money. So I set a goal to be able to pay a car payment selling on eBay, but I had my full-time IT job at the same time, but I was making that extra money, and I said, okay, I'm going to try to make as much to make a car payment. And I did that, and so then I set another goal and set it higher. So, like, my goal was like $400. At that time, a car payment was about $400. So I did that, and then when I was no longer working. In 2009, I got laid off my job, and I decided to do eBay full-time. And then I was using eBay to pay my bills. And then I've almost completely paid off all my bills with eBay, and I love it. I love waking up in the morning and working for myself.
Dom or Kim, would you have anything to add, just in terms of debt elimination? And if not, I have a comment there, but open to you all.
It's not necessarily debt elimination, but I'm a single mother of 2 children that my daughter just entered Penn State University. My son goes to another state university, Clarion University. And as a single mother, albeit I have a great daytime job, it's never enough when you apply for financial aid and things like that. So here, I have been able to pay for my children's education, cash on the barrelhead, because of eBay.
The main key, Imogene said it, is always open on eBay. While we sat here and we spoke to you guys, we all made money. On eBay, not in church. So we identified with a few of you guys in the crowd that there were things that you guys literally have in your pockets that could sell for at least $5 right now. Ladies have big bags. I'm not saying to sell your bag, but you're probably holding on to something that could sell for at least $5 right now. If you don't have the eBay app, figure out why you don't have the eBay app.
Excellent. One thing I want to mention, and I want to say thank you to all of you all, because you have taken an opportunity and flipped it to something that works on your behalf. And as debt elimination is the focus of the dfree program, but also building wealth. And one way to do that is to have another form of income in terms of how you generate additional streams of income to help accelerate this journey that you're on. So when you think about starting eBay, when you have conversations with family or friends, what are one of the biggest myths or things that people say that becomes a deterrent, or excuses that they make up to say, no, I don't want to do that?
A lot of people are they're afraid of the shipping. It's too much work. It's too hard. It's too complicated. And it isn't. I mean, you just really need to start with one thing, pick one item, and just try it. Just bite that bullet. All the information's out there, from shipping to how you list things. There's a lot of help and resources out there. I would just say, number one, get the app. Number two, get the eBay pen and sell it.
Oh, yeah. It's really, really, really key. Has anybody here seen the vet story where the SEAL tells how the first complete task of the day is to make the bed? Some of us have military history. With making the bed, you have completed the first task of the day. If when you can complete one task, then you can complete two tasks. But if you can't complete one task from you starting the day, then you should think about that task. And you should go over your first task, and you should complete first task, and then you move on to your second task. And same goes with listing. As you list one, and then you list two. Before you know it, maybe you do bulk listing. And if you bulk listed two things that have a quantity of 10, then in actuality you listed 20 items in 2 listings. So in the same amount of time, you could have listed 20 items, whatever they may be. Your purses, ladies, are not holding 20 items, I don't think.
Some of them are. I've seen some of those purses.
So in terms, I know you all had a couple of tips and some tricks for the audience, and this might apply more to Dom and Imogene, particularly in the African American community. Have you seen a lot of sellers like us on the platform? And if not, what would you say are some of the reasons why that might be the case? And even if you think about your family and your friends, how do they see this experience, which might be some of the sentiments shared by those in the room?
Well, your question before, some people just think it's too hard to get started. I had a friend, and for years I've been telling him to start selling on eBay, and he could make a lot of money, and so on and so on. And now he didn't. So now he's buying a brand new house, he's having it built, and he needs several $1,000s to close. He doesn't have the money. So he's calling me, can you help me? I need to start selling. And I'm like pushing him and saying, yeah, okay, well, you have to hustle now. And now he has 2 listings up, and they're for quite a bit of money. So he could have from the time he told me he was buying the house, he could have made the few $1,000s that he needed to close. But I think he was just afraid to get started.
Do you have any examples, Dom? And if not, that's fine.
I definitely have an example, but it pretty much repeats exactly what I said. It's about completing the first task of the day. You cannot be timid. I spoke with a few people. You cannot be timid. If you have the app, on the top of the app in the selling department, it says list an item. When you hit list an item, it says describe the item. You describe the item, it may or may not have a product selection. Regardless, if you continue to press the buttons, if you're not scared of the buttons, you cannot be scared to program the VCR. Do not be scared to program it. You have to press the buttons. The buttons on this VCR pay you. For the kids know apps. Kids love apps. Kids love games. I tell my children, who my child wants to be a professional gamer, of course. I tell my child that the best game on my iPhone is eBay. I also don't play any other games.
And one more thing to what Dom just said, speaking of VCRs, and most people don't have them nowadays, they sell for a lot of money on eBay.
Yes.
There are some VCRs that sell for $500 on eBay. 500. If you get the right one.
So now that you've piqued the interest of the crowd, let's kind of go through. I want each of you to talk through an item that you sold that might surprise the folks in this room. Because when you think about, first, let's be very clear. Not everything that's sold on eBay is old. And I mean that because a lot of women and men that I've talked to today say you all still have things in your closets with tags on it. And some of the things you can't fit, and you might have a weight loss plan for 2019, but it's 2018. You can make some money today. But when you got to pay for the gym. So when you think about an item that you sold, give us a unique item that you were just like, wow, I can't believe this. And if you didn't sell it, something that you were researching on, and you were like, I can't believe this. Like I know Dom talked about some newspapers earlier, blew my mind. You don't have to talk about that, but either one of you.
I think that it's amazing. Like I said, everybody here has something on their person that's sellable. Literally, there's not one person sitting in this crowd that does not have money sitting on their person. We live in America in 2018. There is no way you do not have money. You just do not know you have money. The most recent item that I sold, which would be most remarkable, is an iMac 5K Retina box for $40. If you think
That's
it's
the
only
box.
one. Yeah,
The
this is
empty
just the box. If you think it's only one, kiddos got the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. I sold that box for a second time for $20 just a couple days ago.
Just the box. There's nothing in the box. It is
Yes.
literally just the box.
My sales list is more impressive than what I have to tell you. So these are just boxes. So here we go again. If you bought a Nintendo for $85 and you return $20 on the box, that's a 25% return for people who would like to hear it in a more professional manner. You know?
Thank you, Dom. And then Imogene or Kim. Dom likes to lay it straight. He likes to lay it down.
So I sell a lot of used shoes, and I know there's a lot of people that say, oh, I wouldn't wear used shoes, but they sell very well. And some of the used shoes I sell for over $100. And usually I pay anywhere from, sometimes it's $1, sometimes it's $3, sometimes it's $5. I know the brands to look for, and that's a part of eBay, is learning what brands sell really well. I also sold a set of bowls. They're all different colors. The brand name is Heller. I know sometimes I don't like to tell everybody, because when I go to the thrift store, I want to find the Heller. I don't want somebody else pick. I look in their cart, and they already have the Heller bowls. But anyway, there's 5 bowls. I paid like 80-something cents per bowl. I sold the 5 set of bowls for $80. Yeah. And that's all day long. You know, we have excellent sales, all of us, all day long. We pay, some things we get for free. Like Dom finds some stuff for free.
I could amaze you guys. Visuals are even better than audio. I am blessed to live in a gentrified town. We're living in a town. I come from Hoboken, New Jersey. Raise your hands who knows Hoboken, New Jersey. Easy to live in Hoboken, New Jersey from a financial aspect? Absolutely not. If you only knew the amount of money that residents of Hoboken, New Jersey throw in the garbage. I just said an iPhone box sells for $20. The new iPhone came out. There were 100 boxes going up the street. They can afford it. I live there. I must afford it. There's no choice. So, you also have to do market research. You can't be scared to hit the buttons. You have to hit the buttons looking as a buyer, because in this way you can find out what's actually, we all know everybody wants an iPhone. If you're looking at what to get somebody, nobody wants to get a phone name that you don't know who this manufacturer is. And you're not going to impress anybody on Christmas with a phone that comes from, unfortunately in America, that we live like this. Because we're trying to keep up with the Jeffersons. And there's 1 or 2 ways to keep up with the Jeffersons. You know? You either continue to work hard and continue to be realistic, because you have to first know money. And this is when we avoid the issues when the brother was here, living outside of our box when we know we shouldn't be. When we list our first items on eBay, we shouldn't go straight to listing $2,000, $3,000 items because we need $6,000. Because just because you have 2 pairs of Gucci shoes you've been holding on to for too long, those Gucci shoes are gonna hurt you if you decide to list them on eBay. They may not help you. You need to work. You need to start listing those items, the box, the pen, the necklace, the smaller items. You need to build buyers' trust. In a matter of in moments here, you guys can surely trust me. You know it's authentic. If your buyers cannot trust you, they will not do business with you. Again, my name's Dominique, DNC's Bazaar. I've seen you on social before. I'm all over social. It's authentic, it's transparent. I don't like to post if I find something for free. If I do, which I did that recently, I call it trash talk. I posted that from my personal page. I do that on my personal page because from a business standpoint, somebody might not like to hear that I paid $1 and I sold it for $10. Raise your hands familiar with retail arbitrage. Bad news. In the last 24 hours, I sold 3 things that I paid less than $1 for in a clearance aisle, and I sold them all for $10 or better. Those are just those 3 items.
Thank you, Dom. Quick question for each of you, and then I'll pivot to questions if we can. I want you to let us know what you sell, and then give us your favorite number, whether it's what you made last week, what you made last year, what you've made in a month, so people can get an idea of what some additional income might look like for them. So what do you sell, and whichever figure you like the most?
I'll tell you, I sell anything that'll make me money. And it here again, it's pressing those buttons and doing the research. I just have to add to the last question that one of the craziest items that I ever sold was bought 6 mugs at a yard sale for $5. And they were the old White Castle mugs with the ashtray on the bottom. My husband thought I was just nutso for doing this. But you know what? I got them, put them online. They ended up selling for $139. So, I mean, anything can sell. And there's so much out there, like Dom said, anything in your purse, on your person. You have to do the research. And my number, I'm going to just give you my yearly number because I've come up on a year and a month. But last year I did $30,000. And that's part-time. I'm a commercial lender by day. I also own my own estate sale and clean-out business, and then I do eBay part-time. So that's part-time. But that's also making your bed first. That's discipline.
And we have $1 million sellers on our platform, and we have a huge range of folks. People who have quit their full-time job because they made the money first, and then they decided to invest their time in what they loved and controlling their time. But these are some of the examples of the various forms of income based on their life circumstances. So, Dom, what do you sell really quickly, and then what's your favorite number?
I sell a variety of goods. I average $1,000 a week sitting from home. I think that, again, it's about the box. Even in sales, you know, we need to all work hard and grow accordingly. Everybody may or may not have heard of the 4-hour work week, but you can't get eBay and think that you're going to have a 100,000 square foot warehouse tomorrow and you don't show up at work. The bills won't be paid just like the other guy. So you have to list 100 items. There will be no 4-hour work week. There'll be 40, 10 more, you know, like, you get what you put in this world. And the problem sometimes, not to make people leave their job, she has a day job, but you only know what you're gonna get out of your 40 hours. My 40 hours could go any which way. They could go terrible, or they could go phenomenal. So, as well that I come from a Christian household where my mom prays for me every day, every day, every day. Amen. I'd like to say that I'm blessed. I sell boxes. Amen?
That's one of many things that he said.
Not the only item I sell. Newspapers, books, here you go. We have a bunch of readers in here. We have a bookstore. We have homes filled with books. Too many people throw away books. I live in a gentrified city where people put 100 books at a time on their doorstep and say, free.
I'm like Kim. I sell whatever will sell. Some things you'll see and you think, oh, that won't sell. A lot of times it will, and a lot of times for a lot of money. But most recently, I sell a lot of, like I said, used shoes, mostly women's, but I sell men's shoes too if I find really good designers. I sold a pair of Gucci shoes for over $100. I probably paid $5 or $6 for them. I sell women's clothing. I try to buy certain designers, and I get the stuff really cheap. I go to estate sales, I go to yard sales, I go to thrift stores. Clothing, shoes, and household items, and electronics, old stuff like the VCRs, I'll sell that.
So I wanted to. Go ahead.
Last week I made, I think it was $1,200. And that was mostly shoes, used shoes.
So a couple of things. First, give them a round of applause for they're making the money. So during my role, I built a seller diversity advocate program, and I have 65 sellers across 30 states. So whenever I travel, if they're in the vicinity, they say, I will come with you to tell my story. It's one thing for me to talk about what eBay can do. They're telling you where the proof is. Yes, he said he sold a box, but think about how many authentic and vintage or high-end things we buy, and the first thing we do is throw out a box. You know how much a Tiffany's box is on eBay because people want to sell it or maintain the value? Think about that Barbie doll collection that we all saw Grandma with when we were older. Not that you can sell it unless it's in the will, but that's something where if you have to start making decisions, You need to start to figure out where the value is. It's not that everything is old. It's not that everything is new. It is you understanding, what do you like to sell? Sometimes you got to try a couple things before you stumble upon the fact that I like selling shoes. I like selling purses. This is my niche. I can spot a good purse from across the room. And now you know. Some people will go on eBay and see a mispriced item, buy it, and then sell it for a higher price. I mean, again, 190 markets. I'll give you a visual. Malls right now are almost extinct because of e-commerce and the power of e-commerce. 80% of e-commerce sales happen outside of the United States. We are in 190 markets. So that's like if you did have a mall, there are millions of people walking past your store every day versus the trickle effect that happens with a storefront. In our communities, we get comfortable with our circle of influence, our referral circle. That's only going to stretch so far. You need more friends, and some of those people you'll never meet. I also note that the very first item that was sold on eBay was a broken laser pointer. And when Pierre, our founder, sold the item, he called the buyer, and he said, "Do you know this pen is broken?" And he said, "Yes, I collect broken laser pointers." And so when I tell you, and that pen, we literally, in 2014, we found the owner of the pen. It sits in the eBay headquarters, at our headquarters with the story, because you never know what somebody wants. Somebody was in the Holocaust, and they had a teddy bear that was taken from them. And somebody had a teddy bear that looked just like it, and come to find out, it was the bear from the Holocaust. So this circular economy, just because you want your things brand new, the other person might just be blessed happy to be able to afford this one item. You might not be able to get the iPhone 10, but somebody might just be happy to get an iPhone. Oh, and by the way, the holidays are right around the corner. Do you think that you're a target audience because they want you to make money, or because they want to make money off of you? So in this moment, when you're holiday shopping, you better be on both sides of the coin. Here's how much I'm going to spend. Research what you're going to buy. Yes, you can go to other places and you can go in the store, but how much money could you have saved if you shopped on eBay? Furthermore, how much money could you make when you get the gifts you don't want, unfortunately, or when you get a size you can't fit? Are you on one side of the spectrum as a spender, or are you making money that you can add for your savings? So when you think about the spectrum of opportunity, this is what we wanted to bring here for you today. Now, I'm not sure how much time we have because we have to head to the airport in a moment, but I did want to allow time for at least 3 questions from the audience. And one thing, before we do that, I want to say again, thank you to Dr. Soares. When he came, let's give him a round of applause. A few months ago, Dr. Soares came to San Jose, California, and sat in the eBay headquarters with myself and my chief diversity officer. And it could be that Damien, my chief diversity officer, and I both have a spiritual base, but Damien's mom actually used to own a home that the church had to buy in order for you all to build on this property. And so our spiritual base, when Damien and I go through a challenge or a struggle, we say what we do in diversity is not a 9-to-5 job. It is a life commitment to our community. So when Dr. Soares came in and said, "Can you do this for dfree?" This is a faith-based wealth management program. How many tech companies do you see here? So we made a decision to be here for you. So this is for you. And thank you, Dr. Soares, for making the time to come down. I'm glad we were able to make this happen. So yes, young lady.
Hi, good morning. Good afternoon.
Yes.
This is awesome. My name is Ma'at. My question is, the average time spent, I heard you, Dom, speak about it, but the average time a week you spend doing it, each of you, that's the first question. Secondly, how do you build your base? Because you said you have to have an authentic following, people who trust you. And are you advertising?
Really, if you all could answer these as quickly as possible, just so we can make sure we get to everyone else. So just so we're clear, you want to know how much time they spend a week? How did you get your base? And do they advertise? And are you paying taxes? Go ahead.
Yes, taxes, of course.
We live in America.
2 things are only guaranteed, we all know. Outside of that, here you go again. I've built my base on social. I am a social person. I think that sometimes you have antisocial people that try to cut it on social media and wonder why they can't. If you're a blessed person, and we're all here in church, and you speak to your brothers and sisters, then you should be able to speak to your brothers and sisters online. The first thing that I shared with anybody that I shared was I put 2 lines next to eBay community. We're part of eBay community. If you send a holler to any member of the eBay community, even if you didn't meet them here, you shouldn't expect to get a bad, response. You should expect to receive everything that you're looking for. Now, as for time of items spent, if I spend 5 minutes to list one item now, then I could say that the time that it takes me would be 5 minutes. But if I multiplied my efficiency and I did a bulk listing where I listed 10 items in 5 minutes, then I would have listed 10 items in 5 minutes. And each of those 10 items had a quantity of 10, then I would have exponentially raised my time to 100 times over on that 5 minutes, because 100 units would be listed in 5 minutes. So what you do with your 5 minutes of time will also take place with experience, because you first have to complete the one task. You first have to list one item. You first have to get comfortable. Make your bed. Once you have your bed, everybody loves their pretty bed, In our IG world, take a picture of it. In our modern 2018 world, you get that bed out on social. You let them know what you're doing, whatever it is that you're selling. I sell everything. Everything.
So as far as the time that I spend, I treat my eBay business just like it's my job, like I go to work every day, except I work in my home and I don't work for someone else. So I get up, I work all day, 8 hours. I spend more than 8 hours. I spend more time on my business than I did on my IT job, but this is for me, and I enjoy doing it, so I don't mind putting in the extra time.
And advertising, or how do you build your base, and do you advertise?
No, I don't advertise. eBay does it pretty much all for us in a way. My buyers all come from eBay. People who are searching, they may be searching, I guess, on Google, and they find my items. I don't do a lot of advertising.
My day is different than everybody else. I don't have the luxury of quitting my day job yet. So I have to be very, very disciplined. So I get up at 4 to 7 a.m. is dedicated to eBay, whether that's packing, listing, shipping, do my day job, and then nights and weekends are my own company. So anytime that I have an opportunity, like Dom said, if I see something, take a picture of it, list it. I could be sitting in traffic and listing things because I already have a picture back up on my phone or my iPad or something like that. So you're always thinking ahead. You're always thinking about maximizing the time that you have in any given day. I just started, because of the Seller Diversity Program, to start promoting myself, because I thought, why not promote myself? I'm part of this phenomenal organization that got me to where I am today. And if we had a day and a half and pots of coffee and hours later, this spiraled into something bigger than I would have ever dreamed of. And I know I've only been doing it a year, but it's that discipline and time and a vision.
And you said you haven't, you can't afford to quit your job yet, but it's coming.
It's coming.
It's coming.
It's coming.
Next gentleman.
Hi, we have a ton of stuff in my house to sell, not just my wife's stuff, but I mean, a lot of nice stuff. I'm curious because you guys mentioned research, and I know you still said you sold a box. I'm thinking how much research is involved
There you
in
go.
this.
Because I could pick up on that, and I didn't want to interject. I didn't want to cut you off. I just want to interject as well. See, certain items as well as certain basings, I think that if all of us are starting today with one item, we say, what are we going to do with this one item? What we're going to do is say thank you to eBay for offering us 168 million active buyers, 168 million potential buyers, because to be honest with you, if I post a picture, there's a fair chance that I will not have 168 likes. I don't know who's on social here, but any guys on IG know, you post a picture, if you don't have too many people that like you, love you, you get 10 likes. Then you learn to use hashtags and you get 40 likes. And to be honest, you slowly and surely build your base anywhere, because whoever has 50 likes, 100 likes, at one time had 1, 2, and 3 likes. And so this is how your base is formed. Your research, you might have an item that nobody has. So to speak, when the Supreme newspapers came out, I sold 25 of them in one day. Nobody else had them. Now they do. You might just be setting an example. You can't imagine that every item, let's just say that I've gone to sell, has been on the market already, which means I can't do market research on a sold price. I can only take action. And I won't stop, because you can't stop to see, what does this speaker cost? 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 They're all different sizes. They're all different speakers. No, list them all. I'm not saying list them all for a penny now and auction them. But until you have 5 drafts, you haven't even gotten started. So if you get stuck in paralysis analysis staring at market research, all you're seeing is what I've done, what we've done, and you haven't got to what you're going to do. So you have to get to pushing the buttons.
So
It won't break, I promise.
One item from
One
that
item.
basement.
It
So
won't
preferably
break.
your wife's, because she has more, I think.
So,
I thought you said the nice stuff.
so one thing I would also say is, for everyone in the room, if you're thinking about what is the research part, first just download the eBay app and start to peruse the site as a buyer, because the experience you have is what your buyers are going to have. Part 2 is, if you have things in your home and you just want to test it out, well, I wonder what this sells for. Literally, just look it up in the app. And then there are filters. It'll let you know when was the last sold item, what's the highest version, what's the highest price item. And then you can determine how comfortable you are. If you intended to sell that item for $50 and you see it's selling for $400, that significantly changes your perspective. And on the flip side, you want to sell it for $400 and you realize it's only worth $50, then you need to adjust your strategy. So the research piece is looking to see what is it already selling for, and if it's not there on eBay, because that's going to be where your competition is, and otherwise you could look elsewhere online, but focus on the eBay traffic, because that's where we're going to refine and get that filter to the closest conversion. So you look where you're going to be selling, and then you see what those items are. And if you do have an item that's not listed, you can just check the online prices and see what's the lowest, because your buyer might be going for the lowest, but if they're going for value, price might not always be an object. So not everybody's strategy is the same, and so the strategy is the one that works for you. And then we'll take this last question and make sure that we.
Can I just add
Oh,
something?
sure, absolutely.
So one of the things that I used to do, I would sit half the day and just look at items that sold on eBay and how much they sold for. And that was how I learned what items to go shop for. And I look and I want to see the highest price, so I order by the highest. And it's the sold, not the listed, but the sold prices. And I would just study all day long. And I would be sending emails to my girlfriends. Look at this. I can't believe this sold for this much money. And that's what I spend half my day doing that. And that's how I learned so much about eBay and what to buy.
And then, thank you, Imogene. And then we'll take the last
I just want to
question.
say,
there's
first of
another
all,
question over here.
Oh, we'll take 2 more questions, and then we will run out, so we make sure we catch our flights. So 2 more questions.
on behalf of my husband and I just want to thank eBay. I took the dfree class. I'm a member of First Baptist, and after we took the class, it gave us strategies, and this is the strategy that we used, and we used the money to pay off our house.
Amen.
So I just want to tell you thank you so much.
Thank
We
you
really
so
appreciate
much.
eBay.
Absolutely. Thank you for that story. And let's be very clear that this happens all the time, and I'm very happy for you. These aren't miracle stories. That's why I brought regular people. I loved the panel before, but I was sitting there talking about first million. When am I going to get my first million? I'm just trying to get to the next whatever that number is. But these are everyday folks who made a decision. So I'm very happy that you were able to pay off your home. We have those stories all the time. People with, you all have children or students in college. You have family members that are ailing, or some of you might have just lost your job. There's so many ways to make money. This happens to be one that's readily available to you now. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I just want to know, you said that you can sell not just domestically, internationally. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Because I just personally went to ship something to family members in Canada and did not realize that you can't ship cologne. So do you give information as to what can and cannot be shipped in order to inform people what they can do?
Yes, certain categories will literally restrict you or limit you from sending. Like if it's, once you select a category for your item, it will let you know if you can or cannot ship, and you all correct me if I'm wrong. For example, you can't sell wine to every state. you can't ship it and you can't accept it. And there are certain items, for whatever reason, there's a notification to let you know you can or can't sell that item. And then we also have resources that'll help you if you have any problems. Our goal is to protect the seller and the buyer. Because at eBay, our marketplace is both sides. Every organization should take care of their customer, which is typically the buyer. But we also make the effort to take care of our sellers because we realize there are lives that are affected, and not every buyer is a good buyer. So yes, it is built into our system. Would you say anything differently, or does it like auto let you know?
I would just say, yeah, but auto lets you know, but also eBay, because they are as big as what they are, they also have, I utilize the global shipping program. So when I sell something internationally, all I do is send it to Kentucky, and they take care of it for me. So that's all I have to worry about. If there's a glitch in the system, like something was going to China, they had stopped it. They actually stopped it at the purchase side. So it's actually seamless when you think about those kinds of things.
Okay, thank you.
So again, I just want to say thank you all so much for your time, and Dr. Soares has something.
Can you just help me show some love to these folks?
This is dfree breaking news.
Love Vintage 48.
All right, so learn from her.
DNCS Bazaar on all social, as well as eBay, of course.
Mine is Excluria, Excluria.
And ours is dfree Solutions. I got 100% satisfaction rating.
So I also want to say something, and this is something, I missed two things. One, we have 2 giveaways for anyone who's ready to start now. We have some names that we took earlier from the cards. It's a shipping packet that we have for anybody who's ready to start now, because it's a set of shipping supplies. So we're gonna call, if you put your name in the box, it was from earlier if you met us at the table, and then you all can connect with us afterwards. And so, is it Latavia Woodward? Latavia Woodward? She left, all right. You sure you'll take it for Latavia? Okay, all right. Sheldon Stevenson, are you in the room? She got it. Sheldon told us earlier he wouldn't be here, but that she would take, or that's his mom. And then the last one is, no, I actually looked at it. Is it Dewana Rowe Mayers? All right, now here's the thing. Now here's the catch. Here's the catch. The goal for the shipping package was so you can start now, which means we need you to ship stuff. So if you get started, I have you all's email list for the group, so I will send this out to everyone. And as a thank you from eBay, here's what we're gonna do. I mentioned that the holiday season was coming up, and I meant that. On November 1st, I have a coupon code for you. Everyone that I email after this conference will get a store for 2 months for free. After those 2 months are up, it's on you, but you should have made enough money by then to prove its value. So what we want to do is take a picture really quick with Dr. Soares before we leave, and we really appreciate it. Thank you.
Now listen, Dominique, you have blown me away. Wasn't she good? And listen. See, here's the thing. Black people can't be left out. This is real stuff right now. And I want to say to you, you know, we expected many, many more people. We streamed to all of our registrants who couldn't make it, but we filmed all of this. This will go out to 2 million people. We've got a serious distribution online, Google, YouTube. dfree and eBay are married. We're joined at the hip, and we're going. Are we going to do this? Amen. Come on, let's thank them again. Y'all don't miss your flight. I'll be in touch next week.